I didn't own a DS before, but my sisters were kind enough to let me play their own DS back in the day. Nowadays it's very common touching the screen to navigate on our devices. But back in 2004, Nintendo gave us a whole new perspective about touching the screen. The Nintendo DS was a handheld console ahead of its time. You could interact with another player with PictoChat, before it was infested by video game characters fighting each other. It even had its own separated internet browser. It was one of the original smartphones, before the smartphones. And of course, it was powerful enough to run video games that looked like they came from PlayStation 1. So this month we'll look at some of the DS games I like the most since 2004. I'm the Big Bro, and these are my top 5 favorite games from the Nintendo DS.
I like singing. I like dancing.
I like trains.
The Legend of Zelda, Spirit Tracks. Phantom Hourglass was nice, but it felt more like Wind Waker 2, but on the DS. But if it was something cool like riding a train, then that would be more interesting. Some people may not like the linear train traveling, but that's how I like it more. I'm not a fan of traveling the empty ocean, but I am a big fan of traveling on trains both in games and real life. Also, I think this is the first time in the series where Zelda assists the player the whole game. After a certain event of the story, Zelda turns into a spirit, gaining the ability to possess Phantom Knights. It's a shame she's not playable. You must indicate Zelda where to go using the stylus. It can be a bit annoying, but at least it's just momentary. Spirit Tracks has 2 favorite elements I like in video games: big adventure with dungeons and monsters, and chilling while riding the train. The legendary Starfy. What's this? A video game where the underwater levels are actually fun? This is a very cute 2D platformer, starring a little star named Starfy. Starfy and his shell friend, Mo, came across an astronaut rabbit named Bunston, who fell from the sky and lost his memory. And the 3 of them must collect crystal shards to return Bunston to his home planet. Hey, just like Kirby. You can do basic, but very cool moves, like swimming like a drill, turning into magical creatures, and fight epic bosses. When you're not doing the story, you can try some other stuff from the game. Like playing some mini-games, alone or with friends, customizing Starfy and Starly with unlockable clothing pieces, or even watching Mo's talk show, where he interviews characters you see throughout the story. This is actually the 5th game in the series since the Game Boy Advance, the only one that came outside of Japan, and sadly the last one ever. But at least Starfys Legacy still lives in spirit. No, literally, there are spirits of Starfy characters in Smash Ultimate.
This is, what? Nothing. It's nothing. But this isn't a photo of Metal Gear anyway. Sorry, but you're gonna have to go back and shoot another set. I'll just make a backup of this one.
Rhythm Heaven. Do you know where the name of this channel comes from? It was from this game. Instead of putting your name in your profile, you pick a label that you feel identified with. Rhythm Heaven. It's just like its predecessor from GBA. But instead of pressing buttons, all you need is to tap the touch screen, and even flick the screen with your stylus. There's a lot of new levels and mini-games with catchy and memorable songs. There are even a few characters returning from the previous game. What's also making a return is Go for a Perfect mode. And let me tell you, it still haunts me after all these years. There are some levels where the timing of the rhythm is very confusing, even when you think you are doing it right. Anyone who tried Moai Doo Wop knows what I'm talking about. Regardless, the game is still worth revisiting and having a good time. This game is not perfect anyway, so you don't have to be perfect at it either.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Scribblenauts. What if you had the power to summon stuff out of nowhere? Would you use it for good? Or for evil? Or for both things like in this game? Scribblenauts is about summoning objects or people by writing its name on Maxwell's notebook. Scribblenauts is like a mix between Professor Layton and Minecraft. You have a 2D sandbox-like world where you can experiment with what the game has to offer. And you have puzzled missions that you need to solve by analyzing the situation. It was thanks to this game that I learned English. It works well to teach kids how to write in their language.
Hey, you. You're finally awake.
Dementium, The Ward. A classic horror game, with classic horror stereotypes. Elite beat agents. It's hard to look at the good illustrations on the top and the gameplay on the bottom at the same time. Feel the magic, XY, XX. This game is similar to WarioWare, but it's even more strange and bizarre than Wario himself. Mario and Luigi, Bowser's Inside Story. It's a great game, but personally I would have preferred playing as Bowser the whole time. Mario Kart DS. I think I spent more time on the missions than the Grand Prix. Mario Party DS. It has the same pros and cons as Mario Party 3, but at least is more original than the ones on the Switch. New Super Mario Bros. Good old 2D Mario with modern design. Oh, and you grow big. Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney. It's a great visual novel game from Capcom. And yet I still don't understand the people who think Phoenix should be in Smash. The Rubrabbits. Okay, I think I'm a little obsessed with the series. Maybe I should do a video about it someday. Sonic Chronicles, The Dark Brotherhood. It feels out of place, but I have to give credit to Sega for at least trying new things for Sonic. Super Mario 64 DS. The best remaking the wrong console. Super Princess Peach. Thanks to this game I confirmed my theory that Princess Peach has Stockholm Syndrome. Yoshi's Island DS. The only Nintendo game where the babies have better purposes than occupying the roster in every Mario Kart. Professor Layton and the Diabolical Box. Another cool DS game that involves traveling on a train. After the events of the Curious Village, Professor Layton and Luke got involved in a mysterious case about the missing Elysian box. With only a train ticket as the only clue, the two of them embark on a journey on a train that will take them to find the answers. For me, this edition of Professor Layton has the most memorable puzzles and minigames. And it doesn't focus on a single location like the previous game. It's also the first game where we see the professor fighting with a sword. This opened the speculation of him being in Smash Brothers. One day, this game actually helped me solve a real problem of numbers thanks to one of the puzzles.
This should do the trick. A true gentleman leaves no puzzle unsolved.
And this is why Professor Layton and the Diabolical Box is my #1 favorite game on the Nintendo DS. And I'm really happy that the professor is back on the Switch.
Luke, do you remember this song? I love